Well, hello. Wow, that was a little closer than I expected. Jennifer Huff here. Almost Happy New Year. And there's a lot of energy moving. Woke up this morning feeling a little shaky. Don't know about you guys. So, did you feel that way? I'd love to know. How are you feeling these days? We're coming up to a new year. We're coming up to actually not a new year. We're coming up to a new era. And that's what I wanted to chat with you about today. How's your body feeling? Loving the energies. I love that, Katerina, you're loving the energies. Woot woot. Let me tell you, if you're someone that likes to hold on to control, this is not going to go smoothly. So, today we're going to talk about the skill sets that are needed in order to actually thrive and flourish through all the changes. I am absolutely looking at it personally every day to see how I can remain sort of an exponential evolutionary rather than playing it safe. Really, in the times to come, this is for true creatives. So if you're a true creative, you are going to love the years to come. All right. I'd love to hear your word for the day. Where are you connecting in from? What's your word for the day? What you feeling? What's happening? That kind of thing. And welcome. All right, I'm going to read you a little post that I did on Facebook recently on our Facebook playground. If you want to play with me more directly or tag me in a post, best place to reach me is on our playground. It's at facebook.com/groups/TWA playground. So go in there and join us in the playground and tag me on your comments. But I'm going to read you something that I wrote. Hold your beliefs loosely for 2025 and beyond. The picture I shared is a picture taken by the James Webb telescope of galaxies growing faster than the laws of physics should allow based on what we currently know about physics. And when I read the article, I thought, yeah, we can't hold on to anything we know. We are, at our core, truly containing the hologram, the actual universe itself, while we're in the universe. And as it exponentiates the speed at which it's evolving, so too we invent things like AI and quantum computers and blockchains and all that wonderful stuff. So what we thought was possible before using new tools, and that's just a drop in the bucket. But we're swimming in that quantum soup, that evolutionary energy. So indeed, for this year and the intent of today, it's not to assist you to complete this year. It's to assist you to complete an era. We're not going to do it in the 25 more minutes we're together, but certainly I'm going to open some doorways and give you some exercises. And if you're not already in our Reset and Renew program, then I'll give you some clues about what's going on. Here's what I wrote earlier today. Be careful what you think you know. Hold your beliefs loosely. These are times of great change. Some of the conversations I've had with people I love this season have opened my eyes to how they see things around dying, around how to run our business, around sex, about being present in my life, and about carrying nobody and nothing. What a concept. What about you? The greatest skill you can own for the years to come is the skill of being in your presence while being pulled by nothing and nobody, and yet available for everything. It'll be a journey into the unknown. The little ones being born right now are absolutely going to default to that way of being. The cool thing is the last 3 generations have the capacity to be able to change our operating system, the way our receptor sites and our DNA plugs into reality can absolutely biophysically and epigenetically change. Prior to a few decades ago, we didn't have to do that because things weren't moving this fast. So we would just die and get an upgraded physicality that plugged into life the new way. So to flourish in these times of great change, it requires a huge amount of adaptability. We are children on an adventure into the unknown. Now, that's always been that way. It's always been that way. We always were children going on an adventure, going into the unknown, not people in a wrestling match trying to control everything. But it's been amped up a few notches, tongue in cheek, completely a few notches is an understatement, by the way. It's been amped up exponentially. And this post is in support of your badassery. So, you guys, what I'd love to what I'd love to share with you is that we are in a huge, huge shift of eras. And so if you're feeling a little funny, that probably has something to do with it. All right, you guys. So, I suppose, and I'm just reading your comments here. Getting rid of everything from the last era. Yes, and absolutely, Nika, possibilities. We're moving into possibilities for sure. Who else? Who else wants to make a comment around what's going on for you right now? Let's talk about the shifts. So the shifts have to do with one, being able to make a shift and be able to do it cleanly without a lot of brouhaha, without a lot of drama, requires first being able to celebrate and complete what you have been up to. So we're going to approach today with 3 different segments. The first segment is going to be about actually celebrating who you've become uh, in the last era, which is probably your full lifetime, quite frankly. Segment 2 is around how to get complete with this year. And segment 3 is about the skills you need to thrive. So let's start with why celebrate. So celebrating what you've been up to really puts a caboose on the train of what this era has been with you. So I can give you some for instances, and maybe you want to write down some of these things that you're celebrating yourself. I'm going to say that I'm here, that I'm alive, celebrating that my intuition has evolved vastly in the last 30 years, celebrating that I've created myself to be able to thrive in times of great change. I'd love to hear from you and write into the comments what you're actually celebrating. In this past era, it's all added up to a couple of health-related things that I'm finding my way through, and I'm really celebrating what I'm learning in the process. It's powerful. I'm also finding myself understanding the tools that are needed in order to be very adaptable in the times to come. What about you? So celebration, what it does is metaphysically, it completes, it helps you to integrate with that which you've accomplished. And then in our Reset and Renew program, we're actually talking about what it is when you're celebrating those things, how the trajectory of your entire life has changed. So so celebrating is a really important aspect. The second thing though is as we're celebrating, there are also things that are incomplete. So what are some things that are incomplete for you? Some things that are incomplete is my health isn't quite there. So maybe there's something about your health that isn't quite complete or it isn't there yet. Or maybe you promised yourself something around your financial status, or maybe uh, you'd be in the flow on purpose. One of the things I want to talk about on purpose is this idea that living on purpose or living in connection to the reason you were born, answering the question, what's the greatest thing I can do with the least amount of effort, waking up inspired, knowing that I'm doing what I came to the planet for and going to bed with a complete sense of satisfaction. Answering that question, what's the greatest thing I can do, is an ever is a conduit for ever evolving answers. That question is a conduit. So in truth, sometimes we have to get complete with incompletion. That literally in this universe, there is no perfecting. There's only perfection for now, which much like the post that I shared earlier, you get a different set of eyes. You understand physics more deeply. You see that the universe is growing faster than physics, so you have to go back to the drawing board. As soon as you get a new view of physics, all of a sudden the universe becomes a more expansive place where you get to be curious on the adventure. So if you get a new perspective, all of a sudden everything changes and the answer to that question will evolve because now you know more is possible. So that's why completion, even with the idea of feeling like you need to be complete, is important. The reason I bring up this idea of completion is it's easy to be complete about the past that you've already lived. It's easy also to be complete about not being complete about the past that you've lived. So for instance, you know, there were a couple of podcasts I wanted to get on this year, and that's incomplete, but I'm complete about it being incomplete. I'm good with it, right? Also, there's some stuff around I'm just watching my parents go through their aging process. Every time I see them, I have to get complete with that iteration of their aging process, right? I also don't take it on because I don't actually adhere to the idea that we have to get old despite I love my parents so much, despite them constantly giving me evidence for how it's true that you're just going to break down. Just constant evidence the whole time they're talking about their health issues. Right? So, and I love them. They're so awesome. They're so wonderful. And I am complete with having my own perspective on it. How about you guys? What are you complete with? Yeah, and some of the things around decluttering, Katerina, and all that kind of stuff, for sure, for sure. Those are some things that we complete before and there are things that I have that I'm gonna complete before the end of the year. Setting up certain accounts, certain things in bookkeeping. There's a bunch of stuff I'm gonna complete before the end of the year, for sure. But understand that this idea of completion, it's gonna get a little bit foggy in the next 5 to 10 years. Because in all honesty, using quantum computers and AI and all the other tools, what's going to happen is that evolutions on technology are going to happen at such a pace that you can be complete for the next 5 minutes, but then there's going to be an evolution. because the more the wisdom of our technology expands and its ability to process information expands, the more the good news is things like the environment solutions can be created, things like monetary systems can be evolved. It's amazing, literally, what's going to be able to happen. So, in a world like that, what are the skills as we move from 2024 to 2025? What are the skills we need? And by the way, in numerology, 9, which is 2025, a 2, and a 5. Just so you know, 9 is the number of completion. So it's a number about completion. And 2025 adds up to 9. And so imagine that there are going to be millions and millions of completions and renewals and restart, and then completion, renewal, restart. We're going to have completed the era up until 2024 by moving into a new era. So, what, therefore, are the skills that are needed? Aren't you curious? Because I was really curious. What are the actual skills needed in order to thrive through that kind of evolution? Like, holy crap, da 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 da. The kind of skills you need to thrive are things like being able to be adaptable. What does adaptability mean? Well, I'll give you an example. Adaptability means being able to, gosh, the grip we have in things, like we have on things where we want to complete them, or we want to do them, or we want to perfect them, or we want to, so that grippy way of being, where you want to be able to control it, or you want to be able to accomplish the vision that you have in your head. So in adaptability, that grip is very loose, because adaptability requires that you understand that the pretty picture that you have in your head is not necessarily going to come to fruition as you have it in your head today. And people who are not going to flourish through times of great change are going to be people that get very attached. Adaptability requires a certain amount of daily curiosity. And then it requires you to be incredibly integrative with new information. It requires adaptability. Another way of saying adaptability is that you're someone that's able to synthesize the new. You can synthesize the evolutions that pertain to family life, that pertain to the technology that's going to happen in cars, that's going to pertain to what's going to happen in computers, that's going to pertain to what happens to our food sources. So people who can synthesize new information conceptually and practically are going to be people that really are able to flourish. It's literally why we as a company teach the Thriving Operating System. The second skill is being able to be in your wisdom with presence. So let me give you what that's not, right? What that does not look like. What it does not look like is, it does not look like when something new comes along, or when a new opportunity comes along, or when a new person comes along, or when, a new project comes along, you hold on tightly, you try to control, you a little bit, You then try to then maybe you have all these conversations going on. Certainly, this particular skill absolutely does not have to do with, trying to control, right? Like, it is the presence has to do with being able to be available to what greater wisdom has to say, instead of being pulled out by other people's opinions. So you have to be able to process other people's opinions as simply something that comes towards you. You run it through your central channel to see if it's true or not, and spit it out the other side, either as a truth that's very helpful or as something that doesn't resonate with you, that basically doesn't need any further discussion. Fascinating information. Thank you for sharing. These are times where ruminating is definitely not consistent with being in full presence. Overthinking things, taking things personally. That's what presence is not. What presence is, as I was saying, being able to be here and now, completely available to what greater wisdom has to say, and at the same time being present not only to 99.139% of you that's connected to, let's say, greater consciousness, the metaphysical universe, scalar forms, waveforms, quarks and all of that. That which is the raw material for this three-dimensional experience that we see in front of us. So you're available to the raw material where all possibility lives, at the same time being a very pragmatic, in a body on a planet human. So full presence requires availability in both worlds. It's one of the reasons why our logo is a Vesica Pisces, a circle overlapping a circle, whereby there's this little fish shape in the middle. And that fish shape in the middle is where the greater universe and this three-dimensional universe actually interact. And that's where you want to live. That is where you want to live. You want to live right there. And that really requires understanding that thriving operating system that we've talked about. All right. Last but not least, of course, there's a third skill, and that is being able to flow. So it's being able to flow with emotional upset, being able to flow with big changes, being able to, I'm going to use a different word than flow too. Let's say being able to process information, be okay with what's going on around you, have a posse of people who see you and get you so that you feel supported, probably being a part of a community that helps you kind of keep your feet on the ground while you're experiencing all the shifts. And actually making decisions probably in a way that you've never made decisions before. It's being okay. That flow is being okay with messing up a little bit, not trying to get it perfect, because in these years to come, perfection is going to be almost laughable, right? You can only get it perfect according to what you know right now, but since what we're going to know is going to move so fast, then, there's perfect for this second or this 5 minutes. So it's really about ultimately, guys, ultimately, it's about having a lot of fun being creative. Because if you can have fun being creative flying forward, if you can jump in to the creativity that is being provided by all of these evolutions, if you can fall in love with the unknown, what will happen is that your love affair with the unknown will transcend your need to control things. It will transcend your need for courage. It will transcend your need to overcome your fears. Your love affair with the unknown is going to be your love affair with the adventure, your love affair with your own creativity is going to be the greatest, let's say, characteristic to hone, to feed. Yeah. So let me summarize today. Let me summarize today by saying what's happening in 2025 and beyond is around evolutions upon evolutions in the way we can create, do things, solve problems, understand each other, build bridges, get things to market. Um, it's going to be a thing. Your presence with wisdom is everything. So your presence is going to be one of the greatest characteristics that you have. It's going to enable you to flow. And because, as I'm summarizing this, because adaptability becomes a skill set that is almost essential, uh, we become much less controlling, much less wanting to predict the future, much less trying to aim for safety. We could become a species that by nature is truly more in alignment with why we were born, which is to be creatives. Man, if you love being creative, this is your time. But if you love things to be predictable and to stand still, boy, it's really time to learn about that thriving operating system, right? So along those lines, one of the things that we've been doing is free Rasha sessions. They're sessions they last usually about 45 minutes. And they're sessions that allow you to realign to the creativity of nature and the adaptability of nature using bass 12 really cool oscillating tones. And it's just imagine it like an amplifier of your journey. Um, so that we have a free one coming up. And of course, always there's a series of 12 that you can take on afterwards that will assist you. A series of 12 that will assist you to be able to. The free one is not part of that series, but that will give you the experience to see if you want to do the series of 12. And at very least, you get to have a base 12 experience and just amplify your evolution to become more adaptable. That's what the Rasha is all about. So last but not least, I want to see if there are any questions from you guys, any comments. What do you want to say about these years to come? What do you want to, I've been watching some interesting podcasts by Tom Bellew and, of course, the futurist Peter Diamandis. He's brilliant. And, looking at TWA, the next little bit is going to be pretty formative. And I'm excited because all the work that we do is about the physics of ease and flow. Our work literally for corporations and for individuals and in our programs is about adaptability, but about flourishing with adaptability, not just about being adaptable. That would be boring. So I'm actually excited for the years to come. How are you feeling? What are you going to do to get yourself to a place where you're excited about the changes? How are you going to help yourself? And I'm going to recommend that you start with celebrating and then you start with completing. And then finally, we do this together. Let's just do a future activation, a short one for 2025, so that our biology can catch up to this era shift. 2025 was the most amazing year. And for those of you who think I should have said 2024, no, I'm doing a future activation. I'm letting my biology be at the end. I'm actually letting myself have the experience of being at the end of 2025. And I'm speaking about it like it already happened. So my biology can catch up to the shifts. So nothing happens that's shocking. 2025 was a powerful year. It was a year where I realized how much I carry or try to control my circumstances. It was a year where the letting go was such a relief. It was a year where I learned so much. I felt like a child in a toy store. I felt like a kid in a learning candy shop. I played with a lot. I got my feet underneath me this year. It was a fun year. It was a year where I saw lots of opportunity. Some of them I took, some of them I did not, but I'm really excited. And I was excited all year for all of the opportunities that I took. I honed my pickiness this year. I totally got very choosy about what I engage and what I don't, because there was so much. It was like the Olympic athlete course in being able to flow in 2025. Super grateful for the opportunity to have danced with Soul Family this year with many blessings and looking for stuff that's even beyond what my mind can conjure for this future activation. All right, guys. Have a happy new year, and we'll see you next Monday on the flip side. All right, you guys. Big hugs.